Hey guys, I'm Heintje, and I still haven't found the limit of my new Proof Scout. Last year I already tested this hardtail in Winterberg. My conclusion back then was that the bike was fine on the more flowy trails, however it was more or less surviving on the downhill line. Well, since then I've upgraded many parts on my hardtail. Updated bike check coming soon, TM. The biggest game changer is the new fork I installed. This made the bike so much more capable. But the bike is just a small part, the biggest factor is always the rider. And the rider has gotten a lot better since then as well. Also a lot fitter by the way. So this time my goal was to make the most out of the roughest technical trails that Winterberg has to offer. Let's see if I can find the limit of the hardtail. Even though I did ride almost every trail in the park, in this video I'll only show the gnarliest trails, starting with the black lines. The top section of the black line has a strange kind of anti-flow, therefore I prefer to ride the top section of the Freeride line. Then at the road crossing I could easily cross over to the black line. What you're watching now is one of my final runs of the day, the one I feel I rode pretty damn good. Do keep in mind that this was a full day's work, starting out a lot slower, every run finding out better lines and little by little increasing the speed. I've showed this process already numerous times in other videos, so this time I'll skip over it and just show the result. What do you want to see, the best runner I'm capable of, or the whole process from scouting a trail to slowly mastering it? Please let me know in the comments. While I show the rest of the trail, let me ask you to subscribe. Lately the number of new subscribers to my channel has stagnated a bit, which is fine. I know there's no real reason for you to subscribe nowadays. If you like my videos, watch a couple of them, the YouTube algorithm will suggest more of them anyway. However, for me it's still a huge deal. Every time someone subscribes, I know my work is appreciated. Last year I brought my hardtail to Finale Gour. In the beginning I was really struggling to find any flow and fun. However, during the week I started to figure out how to ride a hardtail in rough terrain. For a lot of racers goes the saying, smooth is fast. Well, for the hardtail the opposite is true, fast is smooth. The faster you go, the more you skim over the rough stuff. This results in a nice positive feedback loop. When you go faster, the ride becomes smoother, and when the ride is smoother, you'll go faster. The black line now has two variations. Not sure if they have names, so the one I've just done I call rider's left, the other one, rider's right, splits off just before the middle. This one is, how could I describe it? I would say more direct, less turns, more steep straight sections. I can't really say which one I like more, they both have their charms. Anyway, when it comes to riding a hardtail, you must have the right mindset, and the right mindset is, I'm riding a bike. Sure, the hardtail has limitations, and you have to keep them in mind. But the bike can handle a lot of abuse. A lot. Just keep pushing it a bit more every run. At the end of the day, I felt like I was riding the hardtail almost with the same mindset as my downhill bike. Just bulldoze it through the lines I wanted to ride, not even opting for lines that might be smoother or easier. Basically not giving a fuck that I'm riding a hardtail. I think, at the moment, the limiting factor in my riding is my brain. When I go faster, I can't keep up with processing the trail in my head and start to make mistakes. Now for the last section of this trail I'll go for the North Shore line. The bottom section of the North Shore line is the best part of that line, and the bottom section of the black line is okay, but not that special. And hey, you know I like to get my wheels off the ground. One jump I want to address in particular, the step up at the end. This one used to be a gap jump, but has been covered with a wooden bridge. Only when you jump this one all the way to the right, it's still a gap. By doing this, you have a way better setup for the next corner. Only downside is, you'll get some branches of the tree in your face. They added a few new Enduro lines in the park this year. Of course I did check them out. They start with a squirrel catcher, followed up by a serious drop. The drop is not that hard, but you have to drop it, and make sure you go into the right direction. Thankfully they placed some cones to help you, however I recommend checking this one out first. The rest of the line wasn't that special in my opinion, they were already pretty worn out, add to that a very slow lift and I didn't feel like sessioning these lines. I mean, for the most part they're easier than the black lines, so you might think they're made to bridge the gap for less experienced riders. But then you have the start section, that's even trickier than anything the black line has to offer, not even to mention a drop after you cross the road, and none of these features have a chicken option. What do you think about these new lines? Have you ridden them? Do you think they are a nice addition to Bikepark Winterberg? Please let me know in the comments. So let's move on to the next trail, the gnarliest one of Bikepark Winterberg, the downhill line. Last time I survived this line on the hardtail, now I'm gonna attack it. First thing I noticed, this line is so much rougher than the black lines. In some rock gardens I had to be kinda careful picking lines. I think I probably should have spent some time reading the rock gardens, finding the optimal lines, both in terms of speed and smoothness. But I didn't do that. Basically I just stayed off the brakes and rolled through, doing my best to absorb as much as possible while hoping for the best. A strategy that seems out to work just fine, although I really felt this one in my arms and legs. Around 3/4 down I started to feel the arm pump. Thankfully the trail isn't that long, so I could hold on. So to conclude the video, it takes some time to get used to a hardtail. Then it takes some more time to adapt your riding to the bike, but with the right mindset, the hardtail is so much fun, be it a weird kind of fun. Strangely enough, the hardtail isn't even slower. Earlier this year I put a timed run on my downhill bike in my video. While the bottom part of the trail has changed since then, till the wooden wall ride it's the same. Looking at the times, the hardtail was only 1 second slower till that point. The only disadvantage of the hardtail is the strain on your body. You'll have to work a lot harder to absorb all the impacts, something you start to feel on longer runs. And to be fair, a downhill bike, or any full sus bike for that matter, just gives so much more confidence to try new features, lines or higher speeds. Turned out, my strategy didn't work as good as I hoped. Somewhere in my last run I bended my rim to a degree that the tire couldn't conform to it anymore. In other words, it was losing air. However, having a flat tire wasn't the reason to not hit the Roadgap one more time to end the day and this video. As always, thank you so very much for watching. I hope to see you back for my next video, and in the meantime, have fun riding your bike like it's a downhiller. Houdoe!